Nothing so loud as hearing when we lie. Truth is not kind, and you said neither am I. And the air outside so soft, saying everything.
Welcome to the Bunch of Birder podcast. This is episode 66, and we're finally back with some metal after the Mac attack from last week. And
the Mac attack.
Yeah, and
Mac the Ripper.
Got some some time to catch up. Those guest episodes always throw us in for a loop.
Yeah, I think the non-metal stuff pissed everybody off. For like a month of this. Kidding?
Yeah, Chrono Trigger got like 50 views.
Yeah, it didn't get a lot of views. And I think AIDS Man might have been doing like a slight dig on Instagram. He's like, he's posted some Inquisition song. He's like, this is actually good, unlike video game OSTs. I'm like, is that a dig? As if it is.
If it's a
Take
dig,
it personally.
If it's a dig, I can dig.
Yeah, we can dig, dude.
We get it.
We can take your punches, your punching bags.
We got
Well,
some.
I'm just getting my popcorn extra loudly.
We got some meat slop lined up.
What was that anal cunt song called? The Women Nature's Punching Bag? That's us. We're the punching bags for you swine.
Yeah, we're falling over the grenades for the podcast world.
Kraken!
Dang, that one broke the sound barrier.
Yeah, Fred's cracking.
Not quite. It got to the sound barrier, but like just bounced off of it.
Fred's cracking, and I'm macking. I'm here I'm back at the shop with a beer and my undies with the AC blowing. You can't hear it because I'm on the microphone array.
Yeah, that's what is it, like 80, 90 degrees over there?
Yeah, it's like 90 degrees. You're not in town yet, are you?
Mm-mm.
Where the hell have you been? On business?
No, I've been in Yucca Valley. I was jamming with another band out there at an Airbnb. We just basically brought in like practice amps and a drum set, and then I just played with like the multi-rod sticks very lightly, and we were just jamming.
Yeah, we saw your brother, and you didn't have any idea where you've been.
Yeah, you guys saw Sacramento, huh?
Yeah, me and Rob went to Sacramento, and yeah, we met up with your brother and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Sacramento was a sight to behold. That singer goes wild. He's kind of like moving his hands around like he's casting spells, and he was like throwing chalices of blood on himself and shit. It was pretty cool. They played like
awesome.
Yeah, they played the whole first album, so it was pretty terrific.
Was it on the bigger stage?
It wasn't at Catch One this time. It was at some place called like Don Quixote.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was at Catch One.
No. It was at some like dance hall thing. I think that's where Imprecation's gonna be too.
Oh, okay.
Did they play anything from the later albums?
I think so. I'm not super familiar with all that shit. The first album I know they played like everything off of it, and they played some extras. So I'm they played some other shit.
Dang, so over an hour set, huh?
Yeah, they played for a long ass time. I think we got out of there at maybe like 12:45. They started at 11.
Damn. Who opened for them? Luca Mortis or something like that?
A band we didn't see, and then some band with a V. Let me see if I can find them. Let's see, what were they called? Oh, Vimir. Vimur. They were kind of like all encapsulating black metal stuff. They kind of went from the RAC sound to the Greek sound to the like what do you call it? Like Nordic fucking. Why is my brain blinking? I can't think of that term. Norse core. They went from like all three of those kind of bouncing off of each other, like from riff to
Nice.
riff. It was cool. Yeah, the dude was wearing like a big, like one of those big Greek caftans, you know, like Kawir wears with the little like designs on the sleeves.
Mm.
Yeah, he
Those
was
are
wearing like
cool.
a big green caftan thing.
No
And
toboggans.
I did not. Yeah, toboggans. I didn't spill my whiskey sour on the edge of the pit this time. But I think at some point I had maybe like a quarter of a drink left, my second one, because I got doubles this time. Because I'm like, you know, why am I going to go back like 4 times, whatever? And I go to the bathroom, and for whatever reason, like I kind of stumble into the bathroom right when I walk in, and then there goes the drink on the floor. And some guys like party foul, and I was like, shut up.
Should have been like the
Hold
guy
on.
at the Corpiclani and like slurped it off the floor in the bathroom.
You have no
Hold
luck
on
with
one
your drinks.
second. I'm getting a phone call. You guys pull down the fort for a minute.
Yeah.
Eh.
So Fred, who'd you see?
I saw headliner was Skeletal from France,
Hmm.
backed by Canadian band from Quebec, Outre-Tombe, and the opener was a local band called Coprolith, and all three bands were excellent. I really have very little to complain about during that show. I was up front for all of them. Posted some photos on my story, so people might have seen those.
Mm-hmm.
But Skeletal were very, very professional. Like they were very, very put together, and I've seen them compared to like more Swedish bands like Entombed and Dismember, things like that. I'm not super familiar with their recorded stuff, but live they just struck me as a product of their country, France. Like I heard like fucking Loud Blast sort of thing in there, Disabled, other French bands, and I don't think France had a very, very strong individual sound, but it reminded me a lot of them and like Merciless, earlier stuff, things like that. But cool set. But I think Outre-Tombe took the night. It was a very unhinged performance. It was frantic. They came out really, really well live. I was happy to see that.
Who were you there to see?
Mostly Outre-Tombe, to be honest, because they're the ones I knew the best, and I was most excited to see. I wasn't mad about Skeletal; they were fantastic, but Outre-Tombe just played a bit more to my preferences. So,
Then you
and I think Skeletal kind of suffered a bit from a bad mix in the live sound because the other two bands were very well balanced, but Skeletal's vocals were very buried. It was hard to hear them. So it's they might have tied Outre-Tombe if they had a bit better sound, but they didn't. So I wound up giving the best of the night to OT,
and then you
which is funny because OT had that problem with their third album.
with the buried vocals.
I wouldn't say buried vocals, but just bad mix. Like their first two albums are just fantastic, and the third album's really good too. But the problem is the mix on that is really flat, and it feels like it's missing something. And the songs themselves are fantastic, but they kind of get kneecapped by that, by just the way it sounds, I find.
And then you saw our boy Alex there, huh?
Yeah, we hung out for a bit after the show. It was good to see him. We chatted about records he picked up and some of the stuff I picked up, and just life. No, it was good. Good to see him. Saw a few people I hadn't seen in a long time in that show, so it was good to catch up with people.
Alex just sent me a few things.
Oh, he sent you some things?
Yeah, he wanted to, because I sent him extra stuff in the well, he traded me a few of the Scab Lord cassettes a while back, and he wanted to send me a few more things. He just messaged me right now. Said he sent them out. What the hell did I even get from him? He wanted what the hell did I say?
Yeah, I think he had like 2 projects that just came out recently too.
Oh, I got Wormageddon, Maniac, and I believe another Castrum album.
That's sick.
Yeah, just a few things.
Yeah, and I know Fred's been dying to let us know his pickups, and they've been not only for himself this time.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of weeks. Jesus Christ. We haven't done a collection update in a while, so that's.
Yeah, I actually have some crap too.
You want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I can be somewhat
Best for last.
genial about it.
You would
But,
say that, wouldn't you, Paul?
Yeah, we briefly mentioned last week that that me and Paul went out for a new band practice with our friend Joe, who's been on now a couple of times. So we were out in the desert, and Paul called me a freak because I went off-roading when I asked him. I was like, "Hey, should we go off-roading?" He goes, "No," and I did it anyway. Paul, did you get mad that I disobeyed you? I think he was mad.
His silence speaks volumes.
Yeah, what did he just disappear or something?
The rage quit.
Anyways, yeah, Joe mentioned that like maybe a mile down the road from his house, this record store called God, what the hell was it called?
Wisecrack?
Wisecrack Records, out in the desert. So I spent like just about $200 on a bunch of shit. I surprisingly I found a bunch of stuff. Joe was right, a lot of metal shit. I got the Pest album, Perverted Ceremony, the first Slugathor album, all on vinyl here. The Perkele Ironbird split, that new Toten compilation, Mayhemic Truth, which I actually thought was Morgan for a minute, and then I go, oh, it's Mayhemic Truth, okay. And then the
Close enough.
second yeah, exactly, the second Demoncy album, and then the Witchcraft demo, and the power metal band Glacier I bought there. They had that demo in there too.
Yeah, Joe.
The Pest album you got was Aura, right?
Yeah, that's right.
The Pest LP and the Mayhemic Truth LP you picked up are some of the best fucking things to ever come out of German black metal. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, I think that is true.
I
Me
don't
and
know
Paul
about
were.
that.
Oh. Yeah.
I know.
You're alluding to
once a
something.
night.
Oh yeah, that's one of the best too. But Jesus Christ, Aura just like is what the Black Plague would sound like if it were audio and not a disease. And
The song I used to when I posted that, it was that Zoot Suit Riot song. We're like Zoot Suit Riot, throw back a bottle of beer. That's true sicko music.
But Mayhemic Truth, that everything on there is great. There's a track on one of the demos called "Only the Flames Remember the Long Forgotten Cries," and that's just such a good song. But all 3 tracks from the Scyther EP are just perfect, absolutely perfect release. Love it.
Yeah, Joe
We
did
didn't
me
get
wrong
into
though.
your. What's that?
Said Joe did me wrong.
How's that?
He gave me directions on where to look for the albums, and it was the wrong place. He's like,
Oh,
all
the
right,
new arrivals?
Yeah, he's like, as soon as you walk in, go all the way to the left. You're gonna get the new arrivals there. It's all the metal, black and death metal that I don't know about. I was like, all right, sick. I'm just looking up through all this like hip hop. I'm like, all right, where's this at? And I think I saw like a Spaz record, but it was like a reissue. So I was like, eh. And then
Would you have gotten any of the stuff that I got?
I would have. I probably got the Pest one.
That was like who Fred pick.
Yeah, and then they had some cassettes, but I was not really feeling that. Like Moments of Zezbeth and stuff like that.
He bought that actually.
Hmm?
I think Joe bought the Mona of Zezbeth.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you posted that.
He's like, why didn't anybody tell me about this band?
Sorry, bro.
Was it a cassette of the album or what was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I forget what year it came out. It must be like 5 or 6 years ago now. But that was probably my favorite album that year. It's amazing. It just like ripped right out of like 1992, 1993 Greece, Mediterranean sound. Fucking wild.
Yeah, and then I just walked
cool
out of
sound.
there with the first Demon Sea LP, the Nuclear War Now reissue.
Wah, wah.
The anti-goth.
We didn't get to Fred's giant haul, did we?
Think we would remember that.
Oh man, this guy's got to go off.
Oh God, yeah, no.
All right, fast forward, boys. I'm just kidding.
All right, all right. So the going back a little bit, I don't know if I've mentioned the second Impurity album, Into the Ritual Chamber. I picked that up off of Discogs. I didn't have the second album to begin with, so that was good. But it also has the first album that's not remastered, which is even better because the remaster on the reissue is a little loud. But that's exciting. Then there was Knocklich, the Toronto band, their latest album, Exaltation of Evil, that showed up. I had the cassette already, but I pre-ordered the CD too. So good to actually receive that.
I finally got a chance to listen to that actually too recently.
Yeah, what do you think?
It's more simplistic than I thought it would be, but
Oh, really?
I didn't turn it off. There's something, yeah, there's something about it that kept me listening.
It's live they were fantastic, and the album is, I'm not super familiar with their first two albums. Like I heard them in passing on YouTube, but I haven't spent a lot of time with them. This one is a lot more keyboard driven than I expected. I actually really like the way it sounds though. It sounds very sinister. But I expected more of a, I don't know, a rawer sound, and I'm actually pretty happy with the way it turned out. So that's good.
R.
The bulk of my haul from the last couple of weeks is a record store downtown. Someone must have sold their collection. A good chunk of the
Why would
stuff
they
they
do
sold
that?
I already had. I don't know. People are weird, man. But a good chunk of the stuff they sold I already had. But what I did pick up that I didn't already have, Armored Angel, Mysterium, original release on id Records, and just a quick plug: Sunshine Ward Records, or Sunshine Ward Recordings, with Jesse, is going to be reissuing Mysterium on cassette in the very, very near future. So keep an eye out for that. The Nocturnus demos on CD, Nuclear Death, their EP and album from what was it, 96? Anyways, it's For Our Dead and All Creatures Are Created and Eaten. And Root, the Czech band, with Hell Symphony on Cacophonous Records, which is cool because it's not remastered as well, which I enjoy. And I also found the first Axis of Advance album, Strike, and the first Sacramentary Abolishment album on Catharsis Records, River of
That's
Corticone,
insane.
both of which I already had, but our good friend Paul did not.
Yeah, made Fred go back.
I did go back just for those, but you know, it worked out because they had put out more of the collection that wasn't out the first time I was there. So I got, well, the first time I went there, the Axis of Advance wasn't there yet, so it worked out even better that way too because we found that for you. But yeah, like the Root, the Nuclear Death, and the Nocturnus weren't out in the shelves yet. I didn't know they were there. So going back to pick that up for you worked out really well for both you and me. So that was good. Yeah, so those are on the way as of I mailed them on the weekend, so they're probably not moving till today. So hopefully you'll have them by the end of the week, but probably not. Probably next week.
Yeah, not
International
from.
shipping.
Yeah, it's gonna get lost.
Oh, God, I
Nah,
hope
nothing's got lost. The freaking oysters made it to Fred. You're good.
not. But you know what though? You know what's great? The first edition of the Sacramentary Abolishment um, hasn't sold on Discogs for quite a while, so it's probably worth a lot more than what I actually paid for it, which is like 34 Canadian or so, which is the approximately the median cost on Discogs. Um, but
I think someone from Japan just uploaded the OG one like earlier,
Yo.
and they're doing it
Oh, yeah?
for 72.
yeah, but the last one sold was over a year ago, July 1st, 23.
Mm.
And it's showing 27 Canadian, and the one copy available now, and that's through the Japanese one you're talking about, is 80 Canadian.
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
kind
and
of a steal for that. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, and I already spent a fortune on the
On the reissue.
But
Yeah.
it was cool though, because I get to give that to Dan, and then I guess the guy that was selling a bunch of copies, like he still has like I think a couple more. I guess he was saying that he was like running Fifth Division and Catharsis at the time, and just had a few lying around, and he threw in some pins and whatnot, and
Yeah, that's cool.
I got the case closed about the additional writings on the lyrics of Sacramentary and some Access stuff with it being on a floppy disk that they don't have anymore. So we can all cry together. We won't be able to get that probably ever.
Yeah.
I told
That
him I
sucks.
was like, oh, it's kind of ironic that, you know, or that we're losing that to some technology like, like based off like Obey and shit.
Yeah. Well, what can you do?
But yeah, I told him I was
Um,
like, my friend and I are probably gonna battle for that
Cry.
cassette.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see myself going for that. Well, no, hang on. There's more to my haul. It keeps going. Um, Dominus View to the Dim on fucking RRS Records. That was a pretty sweet, not find, I guess, because I ordered it online, but original pressing. None of this bootleg bullshit.
Hell yeah, Volbeat.
Looks
The Hallelujah
looks
goat.
awesome. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
This
Fred he said, all right, I want to get this Dominus album. Next day, got it.
yeah.
He wanted, he got it.
Fred gets what he wants. That's the lesson here.
This Norwegian band called Vidar Vang.
We thought thing.
Couple demos were back in the early mid '90s, out on CD, which are pretty awesome, especially the 9 to 5 demo. And probably the the weirdest one, a cassette from a band called Crucified. It's a Canadian band, and they play like thrash, similar to like Sabat, like from the UK, Death Wish, Nuclear Assault, that sort of thing. And I was just like goofing off on Facebook Marketplace, and someone was selling a bunch of cassettes, and most of them were nothing interesting. But then one of them stuck out to me and just said, on the side with a metallic looking logo, Crucified. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I looked it up, and it's a Canadian band that played thrash, came out in 1990. Must have been very small quantities because it's really hard to find anything about this band online. And I asked him how much he wanted for it. It said $15. I'm like, "Pfft, done. Uh, when? How much do you want for shipping? He's like, oh, I don't ship. I'm like, oh. So I told him I'd pick it up, and he lived fucking 2 hours away from me. But I did it anyways. I went to get it because I'm an idiot. But I don't regret it for a second because I have never seen this demo before, and I will likely never see it again. And it's pretty good, actually. I really like it. And that was the last thing I posted on my Instagram. I actually got in touch with the guitarist, I believe, and a really cool guy. We've been chatting on Instagram, and we'll keep chatting, and he's gonna tell me more about the band as we go along. So that's exciting. But yeah, no, you can find two of their demos on YouTube. We Love Hate, their first one, their second one, and the first one is a longer title whose name escapes me. Hang on, I got it here. It is Infliction of Pain, Execution of the Sane, both from 1990. Worth checking out. They're good, and might even be one of my picks in the future. We'll see.
Quick correction, Fred. You're not an idiot. You're a really cool guy.
Actually,
Oh, well,
pretty
thank
smart,
you.
dude.
Yeah,
Thank
you're actually
you.
a pretty smart feller.
You know,
as opposed to a
you know two
fart
languages,
smeller.
man.
I feel very validated.
You didn't smell that fart last week, I'll tell you that.
I can still hear it. Hear it echoing. Oh, Fred's clipping.
Oh, don't do that. You're
Stop
gonna have to redact
blaming-
my last comment about.
Stop
Oh,
blaming
man.
me about things that are obviously still my fault.
But
I forgot to. Whoops.
I was gonna say while I was in Yucca Valley, I went to a record shop there, and they had like a lot of first presses of like prog stuff and a lot of like just heavy metal shit. So they had like I think the first edition of the self-titled Iron Maiden U.S. press. Some other ones like I think it's called like just some unknown NWO BHM to me. From like 87 and I think like 85 too. I forget the names of the bands. There's like also some like glam shit like Motley Crue first presses and shit. But yeah, I guess that guy's just like going around the world grabbing shit and putting it in the fucking desert for people to come by. And then I wasn't able to get anything that interested me too much metal wise, but I was able to pick up the Gang of Four solid gold. I guess it was like a misprinted promo copy, so I got that, and then a Cow's Sexy Peace Story vinyl as well. So those are some good finds for me.
Nice.
Cool alternative stuff.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention I got very cheap, $5. I got Goatrike LP 7-inch, Funeral of Nameless Angels.
Oh, cool.
Oh damn! I
Off
thought
track.
that was
Yeah, I remember.
that picture. I thought it was a CD. It's a
No,
7-inch?
no, it's a 7-inch.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It did look
Goatrike.
like a
We-
CD,
we-
though.
Yeah, we recently discovered that I've heard of these guys before. I remember them from the Lust split, but I remember, yeah, I've just seen the name around for a while, and I finally got around to checking them out, and they're actually super fucking good. They got a lot of stuff that reminds me of like the Ouroboros album, and they even have really long, like almost blackened Funeral Doom shit. It's kind of out of nowhere. It's
Yeah, their riffs are
terrific stuff.
pretty long too, and they take like some unexpected turns to them. Like they go a little bit longer than you think they would.
Yeah, so there's one that might be a future pick for me too. Something from Goatrike 666. They're kind of weird because a lot of their stuff is like just rehearsals, and like on one EP you'll get like multiple different production
Recordings, right?
value. What's that?
Like recordings.
Yeah, you'll get like different recordings on like one release. And they're like the year that they come out, some of them aren't the year that they were recorded. A lot of them are like compilations, which is kind of weird, but
They're
cool
Italian.
in a mysterious black metal kind of way.
They're freaking Italian. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, they are for. Hey, I'm Italian. The sourdough bread bust.
Cutting a line in front of Italians. Oh, wait, whoa, whoa, hey, oh, hey.
And I found a couple other things that I fell in love with, but they'll eventually be picks, so you'll see them then. The Dust
definitely
Defiled and
yes.
shit.
I mean, call you spoiler
Oh
free,
yeah,
Paul.
yeah, that was interesting.
And then what was it? The one on Barbarian Wrath, the Mexican band.
Oh, Sargatanas?
Yeah. That second album, so good.
Yep.
I just ordered that today.
I wish they'd do more. I think they're technically still intact, but yeah. They've been around for a long ass time though.
Yeah, it says
'Cause I remember they
86.
Yeah, they didn't like release anything. But like the legacy of that band is just huge.
Yeah, they're still
86,
active.
that's unheard of. Yeah, allegedly. Like they haven't done shit for a long time.
Yeah, they just got some comps and splits. Yeah, that second album from '01. So
Yeah.
I just like
that second album is my favorite though. That one is really fucking good.
when I saw the album cover, I was like, all right, this looks like a like mix of the Cogamela record as well as like the Appalling Spawn. So I was like, all right, this has to be good, and it's like a sick logo, and yeah, the music is like just perfect. And then I saw it was on one of your favorite labels, so I was like, yeah, has to be good.
Yeah, anything released on Barbarian Wrath is basically a blind buy for me. There were a couple Doom albums they did that I didn't really like at the time. I think I'd like them more now if I revisited them, but like everything on there is just fucking great. What a good label.
It's funny you mentioned the like your earliest post. I had sent you that I forget what band it was. It was one of those Canadian
Oh,
kind of like atmospheric pagan bands. And you're
Sanctuaire.
like, oh, that was my yes, sink in the where? Is that it?
Sanctuaire. It's Sanctuary,
Sanctu-
basically.
EP 2020 is it? Is that not the
It was,
Sanctuary. Okay, they're
Yeah.
this guy's in two bands that have similar names.
yeah.
But that really caught my ear.
The,
And coincidence, fucking Joe sent me, or he sent us in the group chat, one of this guy's other projects, Monarch. He's like, Paul, check out this drumming, man.
yeah, Monarch is really good. The first album, Fier Hérétique, is my favorite. We need to stop talking about French bands because I sound so pretentious saying them in French.
Yeah,
This is the
that's-
problem when you speak French. Like, either you say things properly and sound like a dick, or you intentionally mispronounce things the way English people say them and feel like an idiot because you know you can say it right.
This conversation just happened on Oni Plays. I swear to God, Zach Hadel just fucking brought this up.
Yeah, don't dumb yourself down, Fred.
Exactly. Well, because it's like you sound. I kind of get it. It's like maybe you sound dumb trying to do the accent, but then you're dumbing yourself down and like saying it in a not.
Yeah, like
I would
like
say
no
just go with-
accent to it.
I would say do a little bit of both. That's the perfect balance. Is do both.
Do
the
both.
accent.
So, like, if we're
Yeah,
talking about the cathedral in France, I say the Notre Dame. For you lay people, the Notre Dame.
No. I mean, pick and choose your words here. You pick and choose your battles. So maybe one time you'll say the right, the way it's pronounced. One day you'll say, the lay,
I
the
think
lay version.
I
of
think
that.
as
So
long
do
as
No,
you're
both.
not
I'm just gonna sound like a dick. We'll leave it at that.
I was gonna say as long as you're not saying like a loud blast or mutilation. Like obviously, if you're have to speak the language to say it, then do it.
I mean, I've been listening to a little bit of that stuff too, like Canadian.
Guys, I'll be back in a minute, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right, we're back.
I was regaling Paul with a tale of how I thought my dog was lost, but
Oh no.
it ended up he wasn't. He was in the fucking garage. But yeah, there was like a mini freak out that like my parents were having. They're like, "The dog was with you." I'm like, "No, he was not with me. I didn't take him." And so like I told Paul I was like driving around the neighborhood, And like the first person that I saw was like some blonde chick that got out of her car, and I like pull up in my old van like right next to her, like excuse me, and she like didn't look at me. I'm like excuse me, miss. I probably scared her.
Did a Kyle move? Hey, sweetheart.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Kyle, what did Kyle say when I brought
Sweetheart.
Vanessa over that one time? He goes, hey there, sweetheart. Scaring the chicks, dude.
That's how you do it.
I like honey. Paul said honey was no good. Hey, honey. Honey's good, I think.
I mean, I guess it depends who you get, right?
I don't think so. I think honey is fine. I've always called every woman honey, and it's never backfired. No one's ever said, "Excuse me."
I feel like,
No one's
I feel
ever
like, I
given
feel
me
like
the sass.
it'll happen. It'll happen eventually, I think.
No, not if you're just nice all the time. Not if you're like it's like a happy-go-lucky feller, and everybody knows that's me.
Or if they think you're a serial killer, then they just don't want to piss you off.
Yeah, I'm the happy-go-lucky serial killer. That's me.
I mean, if you're a serial killer, you
That's
might as well be
right.
happy.
Yeah, be happy about it, you sicko. Anyways, we were
Ain't caught
talking
yet.
about French black metal. I was going to mention I've been listening to a little bit of well, Quebec. Quebec. How do you say that word? Quebec.
Quebec, that's right.
Quebec. Yeah, I was listening to
Sounds
that.
like- yeah, I'm listening to a lot of French black metal. Yeah, Quebec.
Quebec. Yeah, shush. That stuff by that Finian guy. Fred, you might know that dude. The Alf Norden guy. You know that feller?
I know the band Alf Norden, but I've never really given them much of a listen.
Norden's okay. I was listening to one of his other projects. Okay, here's another pronunciation. Maestro Croic Mort.
Yes.
Yes, they have an awesome logo, and I think it's their 2018. No, 20. Let's see, which is the cool one? Yeah, 2020. If you look up Alf Norden, you'll find Maestro Folk Croquet Mort. It's like just him standing with a sword, like on a rock, with that awesome logo. But it's really cool stuff. It's like pretty simplistic shit. It's like the keyboard kind of takes the lead, but it's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, then he has his other band. All right, here we go. Moose Gut.
It's good. Goose gut.
Moose Gut? Yeah. That's just plain moose gut. I think, I don't know how to pronounce this one because it's not French, it's Native American, but Ifernach?
I'll help you there, brother.
Yeah,
That's
Ifernach.
That's the one that everyone's into that I can't really get into myself. Like, I like it, but I don't like fawn over everyone the way everyone else seems to.
I like the band photo.
Oh yeah,
And photo for
That's-
Ifernach
that's-
book. Okay.
it looks like
Cool. Looks like he's
looks
wearing
like
a little Zorro band over his eyes.
Yeah, he's like a
looks like
a
one of the
robber.
guys from Dark Space got lost in the forest.
Yeah. You guys are both old. Well, to old death metal. You guys know a band called Ferocity? Puzzle into Various Spaces, 1997.
Yeah, that's the Necrophagus, right?
Yes, it is. That's kind of cool. It's got clean vocals in it. I guess they felt like they had to add that. I've noticed something about a lot of these just metal bands in general that add clean vocals into their stuff. A lot of the time they're not very good. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like musically they're not very good. They're like kind of like bad, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the bad vocal in a
Yeah,
death or black metal band.
They're trying.
They're trying, baby. Yeah, I was listening to a little bit of that. It kind of reminded me of Nomicon too. And I guess I had never heard Apocalypse by Abgor, which is actually pretty good. Kind of war metalish, right?
oh yeah,
A little bit.
yeah. That one is definitely their most like straightforward, aggressive release of those old days. It's vicious. It's really vicious.
I finally got into like got myself to listen to Capricornus too, because I've never really listened to them before. It's actually
Oh, really?
pretty, yeah, never. I never listened to them before. Interesting stuff. I dig it. It's varied enough, and it's like, I don't know, Slavic enough. It's, for whatever reason, I've been into that stuff too, especially Velas
Yeah.
and who the fuck else? What else I listen to?
We definitely discussed the album cover, though, didn't we?
hmm
For what?
With the
Oh,
dog.
For Alone
Capricornus
Against
with the
All.
bull, with the bulldog or the pit bull.
Yep.
Bulldog.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually had a copy of that album, the original on Supernal, and I wound up selling it. I don't remember why. Must have been a really good trade or something. I don't know. But yeah, I got rid of it, and I was irritated by that, and actually got a copy again like 2 years ago.
At least
And
I
then
got it back.
another original, just as Darker Than Black, is reissuing it. I get an original. I'm like, reissues.
I also was I ended up on this YouTube channel. There was like a playlist. It was called like Galician Spanish death metal or something. And I was checking out that band. Well, I've liked this band for a while. Hollowed. You guys know that one? There's Something in My Inside. I think that was the name of the EP. It's got like that skull with the eyeballs on it.
Sorry, what did you say the band was called? Hollow?
The band's called Hollowed from Spain.
I don't think I've
so.
heard that one.
Really? You guys should check that out. If I'm sure I might have shown Paul this before because it's always in my rotation, at least that one song, the title track,
Hollow, like
Hollowed.
when something is like empty inside.
Except
Hollow.
from Spain. I don't see him.
Yeah, you don't see him?
Mm-mm.
Let's see.
There's a band literally called Hollow or Empty from Spain. I know them.
Are they not? Are they called Unhollowed? I think they're called Unhollowed.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, that's them.
there's something.
They got one demo, 94.
Oh, something in my
look at
something.
Something in my inside.
Okay.
It's great. That is there's something very different about this. It's like geez, it's hard to even explain what this sounds like. It's not quite doom metal because it's like mid-paced, but it's very emotional in a way that's not super melodic. It's interesting stuff.
Something
but
in my
check-
inside.
Yeah,
Sounds like
something in my
sounds
inside.
like body horror sort of thing.
Yeah. I from there I ended up checking out a band that I hadn't heard in a long time called Fermento, which is like another Spanish band, but they're kind of like a mechanical sounding gore metal type thing. But I clicked on that. I think I saw another comment from Shannon. I seem to run into his comments a lot. I like all of them. Along with that sucking SpongeBob's guy. He's always in the comments just saying arg or yes. There was
Probably my favorite Spanish death metal band is Feratrum from Far Beyond. Oh, you will like it. You'll definitely like that
Okay.
one.
from Far Beyond. It always seems like sometimes when we have these comeback episodes, like it's just us. It's like it feels like an after show or something. Where we're just like discovering. Well, this is where people get their notebooks out here.
Yeah.
What was the band called?
Feratrum. So Feretrum.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever come across this before. Okay, I'll put
That
it on the
album
list.
just fucking smokes. It's so good.
I have a lot of stuff in my list right now that some of it I go through, some of it I haven't, some of it I forget that I'm going to go through, and it just ends up in the over 5,000 liked videos that I'm supposed to get to. There was something that I came across. The hell was it? Oh, Fred, do you know what this is? Extirpation, Tormentor, Supreme Black Catharsis. You know what that is?
The title sounds familiar, but not the band.
Looks like
Extirpation?
Extirpation. Fifth Column Metal uploaded this. It looks like a cheesy 3D version of a Proclamation album cover. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm
Tormentor
looking at it.
Supreme
No,
Black Catharsis.
I don't recognize this. No.
I haven't heard it yet, but somebody's saying black and war metal. All right. Well, what does that mean? Black and brutal war metal. All right.
My mind immediately goes to like Dave Fago.
It's good. Maybe it's not. But... I also have some Arska that's been in my listening rotation too. Fred, do you know who Arska is?
Who?
Arska.
I don't think so.
It's one of the many side projects of the main guy behind the Finnish Morning Star. He's got a lot of interesting kind of like RAC stuff, but even like almost like Manila Road or something like that.
I know
Oh,
Morningstar,
are you
but I don't
making
know any
noise
of his
back
other
there?
projects.
No.
I hear something whistling.
My kid's screaming. That could be it.
Was that what that noise is?
Likely.
What about Dagor from Poland? You guys know that? Songs of the Slav Ground.
That one I know, yeah. That's a good album.
That's
or
good.
demo.
That's
It's a demo, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome fucking Polish black metal. I love how simplistic that stuff is. It's almost like it could be the Finnish triumphant stuff, but it's just so much more like fucking granite wall, just wall of sound. I love it.
Yeah, I think other than that, I've been listening to that groove metal band Triskelion.
You've been listening to Triskelion?
Yeah.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, that shit's actually pretty good.
Damn. What about that other one that Jump likes? That Russian one? What the hell are they called? They were like Triskelion. They have like a guy in a prison. What the hell was that band called? You remember?
Mm-mm.
Russian, like weird groove metal kind of thing.
I don't know. Yeah, that and Dubbug. But listen to that too.
Dubbuck. Yeah, did you get around to the second album?
No, not yet.
Oh man, the first one's great. Second one's really fucking good. I don't know if kind of like iffy on which I like better, the first or the second. Fucking awesome.
They're both really solid, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can pick between the two either.
I finally got around to also listening to Gonkulator, like a bunch of it today. All I
Yes.
listened to today was
Second
Gonkulator.
War in Heaven rules.
It's such a breath of fresh air from all the melodic black metal that I usually listen to. This stuff is just ugly and almost it's like the guitars don't sound tuned. It's so cool.
Yeah, you can almost say it's fudge worthy.
It's what?
Fudge worthy.
Yeah, it's fudge. The hell does that mean?
That's the label they're on.
It's the label
The
they're
guy
on.
runs
Oh.
it.
Oh shit, fudge.
Yeah, I think they put out that Black Mass. What was it called?
Black Mass of Absu.
Yeah, that the 7-inch.
Sick.
And
I
you
was
guys,
gonna tell you.
Oh, I was gonna say you guys. Midas Morgul, the Dark Age of Revelation.
The band?
Yeah, the band.
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
You, Fred? Dark Age of
Oh, I'm on
Revelation.
mute. No, I don't think so.
No,
Let me
never.
see. Oh, yes. I at least know the cover.
Yeah,
If I've heard it before, I don't. Maybe.
dude, that shit's great.
Yeah. Okay. It's in my liked videos. How do you like that? I never got to it apparently.
Which album did you say?
I
The
just
Dark
checked out the
Age of
demo.
Revelation.
The second
Oh,
demo.
the demo? Okay.
Judging by this, I'm guessing this is symphonic black metal.
Yeah, it has the keys in there.
Okay. Well, it says pagan, and I've been pretty interested in that lately.
Check it out. The German too.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I heard 1.5 seconds of it. Seems promising. I'm gonna re-like it so it's at the top. This will be at the top here.
The second half is Must be a pretty good second and a half.
Yeah, sounded pretty awesome.
Can't imagine a minute of it.
Smokes.
Blow my mind.
Oh, you know who's live right now?
Who's live?
Music of Destruction.
Yeah, I saw he was live earlier. He was talking about war metal or something.
Yeah, Reign Supreme.
Okay, here's one. Fred, maybe you know this. Apparently, this is something infamous. One chick band. Well, she's like a collective of bands. It's kind of like Growsome Kite. It's another Growsome Kite kind of chick. I think she's Polish, and it's like she does a bunch of NS stuff. Carpathia and Burial Place. Do you know her?
I don't think so. She's Polish?
I think so. Yeah, I think she is Carpathia. I think that'll be an easy place to start with her. Maybe she's French, actually. Yeah, she's French. Okay,
Let's see.
it's even pretty keyboard driven too.
Oh,
Knox.
this one. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
this.
Seems interesting. I haven't given it a whole lot of time, but
R.I.P. Knock.
R.I.P. Yeah, her themes are paganism, Aryan war, hate. What is Aryan war? Oh, and Slavic values. What are Slavic values? I wonder.
I don't know, but apparently she's French.
Business. Ethics.
Maybe that's why I thought she was Polish, because this image just screamed Slavic. It didn't say French to me.
Yeah.
In 2001, she
Yeah,
even has a
well, I
demo
mean-
called Wolves of Villas.
The NS Honey Bun.
The NS Honey Bun. Who's the NS Honey Bun of the week?
Knock.
It's Noct. That's who it is, apparently.
Oh, damn. Committed suicide in 2006.
Damn it!
But,
I could fix her.
no, I remember
I can fix her.
Carpathia.
She's dead. She's a corpse.
Wood.
Wood? Yeah, wood. Did we mention
I remember
that?
hearing Carpathia, but I don't think I've heard any of your other projects.
Yeah, I think I have them just saved, but Carpathia, I got a little bit of a sample. Just enough to keep me interested. Yeah, did we already discuss the wood joke on here, Paul? I don't remember if we
Yeah.
got a chance to. Anytime you see a disabled person with your buddies, go wood. I like the dead chick. Wood. I can fix her. That's not bad. Not bad. Pretty good.
Got my bits coming.
I got. If you want another cool NS thing, I don't know if people are into RAC. There's a band from Ukraine called White's Load. Funny name, I know. They only have one song. They only have like one really good song that I've found on YouTube. There's not a whole lot of them. Can't pronounce this at all because it's in Russian, but it has like some Viking dude with a fucking falcon on it. It's a cool heavy metal RAC song. You know, all that stuff sort of related to the Ukrainian black metal scene, anyways. For whatever reason, I dig that kind of weird mechanical RAC sound. I feel like Dub Buck kind of does that a little bit too.
Let's see. Should we?
Is this thing on?
Yeah, it is. Should we break?
Want to go to break? Huh?
Freddy's. Oh,
Yeah, I'm just on mute because my kid's screaming upstairs.
let's break and then we can get into the album.
All right, I wanted
All right.
I wanted to share
I'll go
one
see if I
more
can do
thing
anything.
with you. One more thing with you, Paul. You know, before we do a pause, you know how I have I don't know if I brought this up to you, but you know how I have that like lazy boy chair in my van,
Yeah.
like facing backwards.
Hmm.
So I was with Chris and Christian the other day. I think I did bring this up to you,
Hmm.
and I was driving them back from the bar, and I like turned a corner, and the chair like flipped over in the car, and he fell. He was like tumbled to the ground, and then we did it again, like right when we pulled up to his house. I was like, slowly, fucking chair, and he's like on the floor with the couch on top of him.
Yeah, there's a lot of space back there too to like
To fall and tumble all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to Nelson. I had the seat like laid down because I had boxes on top of there, and Nelson was drunk and he laid on top of he laid up there, and we stopped at a stoplight, and he just like tumbles to the front. Yeah, there's a lot of room to just fucking tumble all over the place.
Splat.
Stinky.
All right, I think that's round one over. So we'll be right back.
Victoria.
All right, we're back.
Are back. Oh, you're not sore at me for derailing the show, are you?
No.
He's raging.
Yeah, just to bring back the White's Load conversation. Paul mentioned, oh, look who reviewed it, Boy Nocturne, and it's titled, oh man, I think I might be a Nazi now, 83%. But basically, what he's saying in this review is like RAC stuff is way better when it's mixed with metal shit in general, and I tend to agree with that. In White Lowe's case, like being heavy metal. There was another one that I was actually listening to today that you guys may or may not be familiar with. Here we go again with the pronunciations. Ulfenthal, the Bill Skinner side project. You guys know that?
Yeah.
Fred just goes, yeah, help him write it. Yeah, Von Deutscher Art. That's a pretty good album. It takes all the RAC from Bill Skinner and just kind of like really hones in on that with sort of the black metal bases behind it. Yeah, that's a very good album.
Yeah, I didn't get into it as much as I do Bill Skinner, but I really like his Odelegger side project. That one is awesome.
Yeah, people were saying that's like a Veles worship kind of thing.
I'd say closer to like Iljarn.
Yeah. People were saying Iljarn as well.
Yeah, there's like very short, very repetitive songs, very abrasive.
Yeah, that's just something I was listening to today that caught my ear. What about you, Paul? Anything catch your ear lately?
No, I'm just kidding. Well, just going back to Satan's Almighty Penis, like that first album is incredible. Like
it is good.
Yeah, that's like I had to get that CD. I think on the YouTube video when I came across it a while ago, it was like on Pagan Flame. He's like, "Oh, it's $8. Grab it," and yeah, I did. And I even like their later album too. I think I tried showing you that one a while ago too, but you didn't like it too much. I guess it was.
I remember not liking it. I'd be willing to give it another chance. But that one you showed me, that first album with like the Wendigo on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's weird. How would you guys even describe that? Like, what the hell is going on there?
It's just, I don't even know, man. It's just, it's I don't know. It's kind of like unlike any sort of like U.S. black metal that I've heard. It's like not, I don't want to say like fun, but it's just like varied enough to like, I don't know, just like keep my interest. It's like sort of like all encompassing. It kind of has like a little bit of like a modern like guitar techniques in it that really makes it shine, because you don't really hear that too much in black metal. It's
I don't know if it was just me, but I was hearing like is it a drum machine used on that thing? Because it definitely feels like it.
Yeah, there's programmed drums.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird stuff. It's like goes from fast to real slow to like depressive to like kind of the ugly black metal stuff that we've been talking about a little bit with like Trifane and shit like that.
Yeah.
The the fairly obtuse sound on the first album kind of reminds me of, remember the German band Dark Tribe?
Yeah.
Yes. That was a you pick.
I don't think I ever picked it. I think we just talked about it.
No, I think I brought it up.
It was a pick for you to show us, and so that was the first time I ever heard Dark Tribe.
Oh yeah, I guess. But like, I don't think it necessarily music, like from a songwriting perspective, has too much in common, but because I think Satan's Almighty Penis is a bit more, well, like Paul said, varied. But just something about the production
Very
and
varied.
the sound of it is just kind of reminds me of Dark Tribe. Very abrasive kind of approach.
As a matter of fact, I think it was a demo or an EP by Satan's Almighty Penis. Nocturne did a review of that too, and the
First
title was
album.
something like, "How come?" Yeah, it was like, "How come this isn't more known?"
It's I don't know, man.
Probably because of the name, to be honest. Like most black metal people like their black metal serious, and that title is fairly funny, no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, I
So-
wonder
Yeah,
if
that title's-
it's. I wonder if it's like Goat's Almighty Penis and it'll be fine. Not Satan's.
It reminds me of
No,
that
I don't know. I
comedy
find that
band.
a lot of good black metal gets lost on people because it doesn't have the right
Aesthetics.
doesn't have the right aesthetic, doesn't have the right visuals, doesn't have the right lyrics, doesn't have the right song titles. But
What was that like comedy black metal band? They were called like Nocturnal Anal Fog or something.
Like it's like some parody shit, basically.
Yeah, does that sound familiar? The Nocturnal Anal Fog. Is that what the band was?
I
don't
don't
know.
think so. I remember
Oh, Morbid Anal Fog is the name of the band. I remember seeing they had music videos on YouTube. They had a song called there was a video for the song Nocturnal Bacon Throne. There you go.
Oh, their album, Garth Garoth.
Garth Garoth. The demo Baphomets and Butterflies. All right. Track 2, Lucifer's Pizza.
But
That was,
yeah, I
uh,
guess.
remember
but-
the joke band, the Black Satans?
Oh yeah, I
Yes,
remember
the
that.
Black Satans. They were
The
up there
Satan
with
of
more
hell.
Anal Fog. Yeah, track 11, Satan smelled my underwear and liked it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, they probably do get lumped in with like this sort of parody sort of thing. But then once you get past that, it's like just really, really good black metal. It doesn't really have any. Like, I don't really hear this as like a US sort of release or USBM release. It's like so melodic and like Scandinavian leaning too, but then it will go into, like you said, like ugly shit, and then like really like DSBM as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So it's, I guess that's where it kind of ties in, but it's definitely on the more like Scandinavian side, not so much like the Demon Seas and Profanaticas that were
Right.
along with USBM.
Yeah, it's weird. I had heard that band a long time ago. I must have been looking up like just Satan on Metal Archives, and that came up
Bad boy.
like back in high school, looking up Satan.
No, but yeah, this great album. Just thought I'd mention that I was coming back to it.
Yeah, apparently classic stuff. I was
Yeah.
gonna say
I don't
track
even
6
remember
on the-
how I got their first album. I just know that I have it and have had it for a long ass time.
Yeah, I was like,
What?
Fred, you got this? He's like, yep.
I love how on their Metal Archives page it's like not to be confused with Satan's penis. You know, the one that's not almighty.
Yeah.
Satan's
Said
regular penis.
Almighty.
God damn it.
God damn it. I was gonna say track 6 on the Morbid Anal Fog album. Hitler's mother was a Jew. Okay.
But yeah,
And I
Should we
won't
get in-
mention that I've been watching Young Sheldon either.
no, you got to get into that.
Please no. No,
Do I
please God.
have to?
This is your punishment for dragging the show along.
Young Sheldon is not as bad as
That
you
punishes
expect.
us more than him.
It's kind of good.
Oh God, please
Well,
no.
it's better than watching like Big Mouth or whatever the kids are watching nowadays.
Yeah, you watching
Oh,
it with
yeah, I
Young
was watching
Dean?
Big Mouth.
With young Dean, that's right, Lost Dean.
His Lost Kid episode.
I caught myself tearing up, and I thought to myself, what a fan. I told Vince, like, why am I always like shedding a tear when I'm watching television? When like the emotional music comes on.
Because You're red blood American.
I think it shows that I have a soul. Also, is this a funny idea for a bit in a sitcom? So you're at Chuck E. Cheese. The server brings you a plate of mozzarella sticks. You ask him, "Did Chucky make these himself?" Because if not, I'm not eating them. Is that funny?
I think I said it was like a Costanza sort of thing.
Did Chucky make these himself?
Yeah, you gotta get past the.
Sorry, that stupid thought came from ordering cheese sticks again at the sushi place. Delicious, by the way.
So you didn't go to Chuck E. Cheese's?
No, it was just a thought. I didn't come up with the thought. Metal Trev came up with the thought. Sort of added on to that.
I think Metal Trev needs to work on his material.
Oh, I'm telling.
He listens.
Yeah, he does listen.
Oh, then I mean, it's great. I like it.
Good job,
Just don't,
dude.
just
You're
don't
gonna
want to
be a
lose
writer.
just don't want to lose a subscriber.
Lose a subscriber.
Speaking of which, we're back to some metal picks. So
That's true.
I don't know if we'll go non-metal for a while, but
No, I
Yeah,
think
it
we
might be
alienated-
five years.
alienated
We'll do it
everyone.
again in 5 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
that-
did alienate everyone. Everyone's like, ugh.
yeah,
Maybe we'll just
Everyone
do
was really
like
sickened by our decision to do that. I
gotta
had
pick
to
up-
delete a lot of
someone-
negative comments.
Someone threw a tomato at me on my way to work the other day.
Somebody threw a milkshake at me, just like in The Weatherman.
Yeah, but we
let's
did
never do
it,
that again.
and now we're back.
We're better people for it.
Yeah, so
I think so.
I was thinking, what is a good album that
We all like.
that is not along the lines of what Mac picked, which was some interesting melodic death metal, and came with this. We got some fermenting innards.
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 Innards? Fermenting
My
nards.
Fermenting nards.
Yeah, the German band. Let's see.
German, I thought they were Swedish.
German band.
Yeah, that
And yeah, they started off with their first demos being like just pure death metal and leaning more into like their death doom side. And then all of a sudden on like Drown, they started bringing in some black metal leanings, and then their One in Soul album, Miss with the Y, with this amazing cover.
Miced.
Yeah, it's like
Mises to pieces.
yeah, this amazing cover. Looks like a Neanderthal skull or something in there, and yeah, and then the more and more you dig into this album, you find some familiar faces in there, and it went a lot deeper than when I first found him. I was just listening to just a lot of black metal at the time, and this was kind of like B tier sort of thing. Comes out in 1995 on Invasion, and the more you look into it, you find out Dan Swano like produced it, and he guested vocals and solos, and he did a lot of the keyboards, which is like a huge part of this band. It's I don't know, it just sets it apart, even though they're not going like crazy limbotic art or anything. They're just playing the chords, and just the voicings on there are amazing. Really elevates the music, and then all of a sudden they go back to their death metal roots, where
Wild.
eventually it's sort of like a black death metal sandwich, where it's like starts off black metal, death metal in the middle, and then the last 2 songs or 3 songs are bringing back the black metal. but all across it has some doom leanings in it, as well as of course, in the '90s they went gothic too with the vocals, and
Obviously.
yeah, and then they have a Nirvana 2002 cover of all of all to choose, and yeah, it seemed like from Hateful on, it just kept going further and further, like sounding more Swedish, and then they hit the nail on the head with covering a Swedish band, and yeah, I think just how like I don't know, man, you just got to hear that first song after the intro. That main riff in there is one of those ones that you could just hear forever. Like just put it on a loop. It's so good. And yeah, so I thought we'd come back and listen to this album. And I know you guys heard it before because it's not too underground.
They put out Scorched. What's up with it?
Huh?
It said Invasion Records. They put out Excrement Scorched, 1994.
And Fertilizer.
Yeah, and Fertilizer. too.
Vomiturition.
Yeah, they put out a bunch of good stuff. Apparently, they weren't a very good label, according to interviews by these guys.
Yeah.
They went out of business quite quickly.
Yeah, they got the Inferia EP that I like a lot on there too.
Yeah, that's a good one. Sounds
Vomiting
crazy.
Corpses was good too.
I don't know if I know that one. Vomiting Corpses.
That's a cool album.
Nah, dude. I don't know. Vomiting Corpses' album cover kind of looks cool. It kind of reminds me of that band Killing Diction, is what it sort of looks like to me.
Hmm.
You remember that thing with that like alien kind of crouching on the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that.
I think you'll like it, Dan. And
I'm sure.
I say that a
It's cool.
lot, but our tastes overlap quite a bit. So
Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, we all like the same kind of death metal. We like old shit that's brutal. Yeah, old stuff, brutal. That's what we like.
brutal
We'll
stuff.
definitely check out the Vomiting Corpses.
But yeah, what do you guys how'd you guys come into this album and how do you like it and all that?
Man, I've had this album for ages. I want to say like 15 years, maybe 20 years. Pretty sure I found it at a secondhand CD store and was fucking confused. I mean, like, this is such a bizarre, like, collision of bizarre circumstances. Like, everything about this album is just weird. Like, you have the Carcass Worship band name.
Yeah.
You have the blue artwork, which I actually quite like, but isn't something you would expect to see on a black metal album.
Yeah, you get
The
like
logo kind of
like-
straddles between black and death
East.
metal. You have Mortis doing the introduction and outro tracks that sound like right off the 7-inch EPs he was putting out, I think around the same time that wound up on Crypt of the Wizard. You have Oystein Brun from Molested and Borknagard doing a couple lyrics on a couple songs. You have Dan Swan mastering. It's a German band, but you have guys in there whose names are like Rico, Andreas, and Mario, which are like the least German names I've ever heard for a band from Germany.
They sound like Spanish names.
Yeah, the Nirvana 2002 cover, like everything, like this shouldn't work. Like,
Oh,
there's
no,
nothing on here.
No, it
that,
feels
like-
very much like an experimental sort of group project or something.
Well, I think the album art's kind of telling of like you just mix all this shit together and that's what you get.
Like paint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It really does feel that way. Like they just threw everything together and see what happened, and it worked. I don't even know why, but it was
Yeah.
fucking great.
And I can't imagine being in the studio and like Dan Swano or like asking him or him offering like, oh, play some keys on this part. Oh, jump in the
This,
vocals here.
yeah, this isn't. I mean,
Yeah.
he was still like legendary at the time, but
Yeah,
this is back when all that stuff was like hot.
yeah, because
This
this
is when
is
Dan
like,
Swanner was hot. He was the hot guy.
yeah, he's doing all like, I don't know, like it reminded me of like the Crimson era of like when he does his gothic vocals in there too, and then just like the really really emotional solo on that third song. It's like no wonder I liked it so much. Fucking Danny played it, but to the point of Mortis, I was like reading an interview about you know how this happened, and this guy's you know obviously asking Mortis questions, and he's like, "Oh, you got you know 3 full lengths, and then you came out with this 7 inch." He's like, "Why'd you do um, such a short release after full lengths?" And he's like, "All right, truth behind the Blood and Thunder 7 inch was those songs were originally recorded as intros and outros for a shitty German black metal band whose name eludes me right now. I think what happened was that they were supposed to pay me, but they never did. Something led to me feeling ripped off, and I know that much. After that, I decided to let the local record label Primitive Art. He says that they discovered Niflheim and Gehenna during the period as well. You know, they put out this limited edition 7 inch. It was a way for me to regain control. And besides, I love putting records out a lot. And he's like, oh, I think, you know, all the songs on there were shorter anyway, so it fit. And then the interviewer's like, fermenting innards. He's like, their Miss record had an intro recorded by Mortis, and uh, you know, as this was a band at the time catching hell in the underground for shifting from guttural death metal to atmospheric black metal. I was super curious, and I picked up the record. It was actually one of my favorites now. And then Mortis says, Fermenting Innards was a band I did the intro and outro for. They did something to piss me off, and I put those pieces on the Blood and Thunder 7 inch. So that's the story behind it. And he's like, I remember there was some noise around them back in the day. Perhaps that was it. The black metal scene could be pretty elitist at the time, and if you didn't have the right pedigree, so to speak, someone would let you know about it. I think the idea of being true back then was prevalent. It's kind of funny looking back at it today because pretty much all of us came out of the same background, and it usually will be in this order: heavy metal, thrash metal, death metal, black metal. So why so many of us turn loudmouth over some death metal band turning black metal while we worship others was a mystery. You know,
A
and it,
mystery.
I guess it is kind of I guess they're late to the game about it, and people just
No, but he's right. He's
liking
right
it.
though. Like they're a band that doesn't have the pedigree is the best way to put it. Like they don't have the aesthetic, the look, the band name that you would commonly associate with black metal, and they kind of got shunned for that. You know, that's just kind of how it goes in the genre. It's kind of it's too bad.
Yeah, but I just thought that was some good insight that I was able to find about it.
Yeah,
So there's some drama here. The plot thickens.
I never realized
Interesting.
that that Mortis released those 2 songs on a 7 inch. I mean, I knew about the Blood and Thunder 7 inch, but it never occurred to me that
They're the same
it's
songs.
the same tracks. Yeah,
Yeah, well, the first
like I
song's called Blood and Thunder on this album.
yeah. I mean, that's a good point.
But yeah, yeah, no beef with Danny apparently, so they're good in his books. But I think there was 2 guys that played in the death metal band Golem, which is a lot more like exploring, where Fermenting Innards is more well. They just kind of have a dynamic shift of like being death metal or black metal, and then sometimes they fuse it where you can't really you know, where the lines blur. But Golem
Yeah.
is just like really technical, weird death metal, and that's also a band to check out if you haven't already. But Dan, how'd you come across this, and what do you think about it?
I don't remember how I came across this. I must have just come across this when I was exploring old death metal in high school. Um, I knew like sort of the hype around it just because it was something that Dan Swano had been involved with. So I guess in that sense, it sort of reminds me of like leukemia and how I sort of alluded before that this almost seems like a group project with like different people because I think Golem was already going
Yeah.
at this time. I definitely discovered Golem later, but this um it 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 is sort of a strange thing. It's like you have the weird Dan Swano goth stuff, maybe even shit that would be coming out in like his other band Nightingale, where it's like straight up kind of goth metal sort of.
Hmm.
Um, but I, you know, just re-listening to this, I kind of didn't remember what it sounded like. I knew it was probably what I assumed, and it was. It reminded me of the pick that Fred brought up not too long ago, Lucifer's Hammer, where it's kind of blurring the line of oh, here's the black metal riff, but then here's a bunch of death metal songs, even though those were like on demos. And
Yeah.
I guess in this sense, you know, I was reading an interview too with not Mario, but I think the other guitar player, and he was
Andrews.
saying that, he was basically unfamiliar with the Swedish death metal scene in general. Like he started Golem because of Protector, you know, their Golem album. Um, and those were all his influences, like Creator and a lot of the fast, brutal German thrash and things like that. Um, but it seems like here this sort of opens the door for them to do what they did in Golem, even though this is sort of like a kind of a Swedish worship kind of thing. Like the Mario wanted the he was like adamant on getting Dan Swanner to produce it and maybe to have some of these big names you know behind the project um, while still being like a dark like a basically dark death metal project and wearing like corpse paint and dressing like you know you would expect a black metal band to dress. Um, but I think it's interesting that like coming out in 1995, that's sort of one of the perfect years for me just because it's not so late where things get lame, but it's not so early where things are kind of just all the same. Like I really don't mean to like shit on the Swedish death metal scene because I like it a lot. But a lot of that stuff is really, really similar sounding. And with you this coming out so late, you have so much more experimentation. And I see this band more as as an experiment than I do as a band proper or as like
Hmm.
what I've seen some people call this as a progressive metal band. I don't really see it as that. I just
No.
see it as something more like Panthymonium, where you know there's a stop. Let's do this. Start. Let's you know okay. We'll do something new. But I think that's kind of an interesting way that they go about it because it kind of leads into Golem.
Yeah, I
I
feel
think
like
their first. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like they, obviously had all these songs together, and then came to the studio and were open for that experimentation like you would in Dan Swano's studio with like the
Right?
stop
Yeah.
start sort of thing, and I could
Yeah.
see like I don't know, cause like as the album progresses, like I think the second song has Dan Swano's doing his gothic vocals, and then later on it's like other people doing it. So it's like I don't know if it you know got the got everyone's being like, oh okay, yeah, I could do that too, but instead of just keeping Dan doing it.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really don't feel like it's intentionally experimental. I really feel like it's a band that was in the process of transitioning from death metal to black metal, and just happened to have material they wanted to record for the album. Some of it new, some of it left over from an earlier sound. They kind of just tried to mash it all together into one coherent album. It's almost like they were writing a black metal album and they wanted to get Dan Swano to record and mix the thing, and they got him without realizing how fast he'd be available. And like, oh shit, let's just get the other songs and like get in there. So like,
Yeah, because I think the only
that's
one
almost the
that
impression I
was
get from this album. Like the next album would have just been like straight black metal.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think the only
definitely.
one that was a leftover was from Drown was Eternal Sadness, but the rest were um, you know, for this album. I think that's the only one that made the crossover.
It is
Well,
it
I
is
mean, just because
kind of
they didn't record them before doesn't mean they didn't write them before they transitioned over to black metal, right?
Yeah, because
yeah.
there is like stark difference between I think it's from Hateful to Eternal Sadness, where those are just like the death metal songs.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
there's
you're
some
like, what
like
the hell just
stark
happened?
contrast between these songs.
Yeah, and then there's some riffing I think like in the third song that goes into death metal, but I think they have like that repetitious structure that makes it more leaning to black metal. Because I think I read that same interview as you, and he was like, "Oh, what's the difference between Golem and Fermenting Innards?" And he's like, "Danceability?" Question mark. And
So
he's
wait, which band is
The
the
go-go
danceable one?
dancers.
Fermenting Innards.
Golem?
No,
Fermenting Innards is danceable.
yeah,
I suppose I can see that. Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
he was saying, the guy Rico, he was like showing him at the gates and like octuple gates and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation to have these songs compiled into this release, but it's still like good nonetheless. What they're doing, it's black
It is pretty.
metal,
It
death
is
metal.
pretty. It is pretty apparent that they are doing a Swedish worship thing. Because I was even saying like their demos are called "Premature Autopsy" and "Drown" and "Rip to Shreds." Like, aren't those all fucking Nihilist songs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go with that. I guess. I guess I was gonna bring up something about Gollum. If people don't, I only discovered these guys. Well, I guess it was almost 10 years ago. It seems recent now, but the first album is sort of what you would imagine a continuation of Carcass's artwork would be. A lot of people actually like that better than artwork. And I've
the one with the ladies on
actually,
it.
yes. The one after that, though, the Second Moon, I had never heard that one. That one, it seems like they have their own sound, and I think that sort of branches off of the main guitar player kind of getting introduced to At the Gates and Swedish death metal in general, as opposed to like, the German thrash thing. So
Yeah,
I think Fermenting Innards is sort of a launch pad for for Gollum to sort of become their own band
yeah. I think
with
I
an original sound.
didn't put two and two together. But yeah, I think I've heard Second Moon before the first album, and yeah, it does sound like it's a completely different band between those
Yeah,
two albums.
yeah. It's very different. It's technical, but not really in a way that you would expect. It's totally got its own thing going on.
Yeah, that's a good album, and it's neat that they relate in that way with the same guitars. But maybe we should just get into one of the songs.
I could go for a good song.
Are we
So how
doing
about two? So I'll do the intro and the second song,
intro and two?
Ooh.
Okay.
because by Freddie's request, I can't deny.
And then I Mortis.
So yeah, we'll listen to Blood and Thunder and Meast.
Beast.
Meast.
Disto.
All right,
Mista.
we'll be right back. back.
That sucked.
Yeah, pretty terrific for a band that's kind of, for me, seen as like a Swedish worship thing, because those black metal riffs did not sound Swedish at all. They sounded pretty, like Fred pointed out, they sound very Norwegian.
Yeah, and like what you were saying with
Like Emperor.
I was gonna say about you knowing this album from like Dan Swano and Fred knowing it from like Mortis, featuring on it as well. I was like, I didn't even know that until you guys brought it up, but it
Yeah,
kind of
that was always the gimmick for my
yeah.
attention, really.
I feel like that song itself, as well as the second one, kind of like really deserves to be out of the shadow of two musicians that did an intro and outro and some keys and vocals on on these songs, because I think this track, just that second riff, just like that could just be the whole fucking runtime of the album, and I'll be just as happy with it. Like that's such a great fucking great fucking riff, and then the third riff that comes after that, where it's just kind of taking a back seat, and then those keys come right over it. It's just like perfect. And then obviously the elephant in the room with
The goth part.
the goth part, and they don't just hop right out of it. Like they do slow it down, and what I like about it is when the vocals are going, they pick it up, and then they bring it back down, and they drag that on for quite a while, and then they just go back into like just a hybrid of well, it's obviously a black metal riff, but with the production that Dan Swano provided here, it sounds death metal, which is kind of playing some tricks on my ears here.
Yeah.
And the drumming on here is phenomenal too. Like just deciding to do that, galloping D beat over that second riff was like just a genius idea.
Yeah, it works great as a dynamic, and to like shift the feel to make you pay attention more to that riff, which is great.
Yeah, the vocals are great too. I was saying it sounds a bit like At the Gates, but a little bit more unhinged.
Yeah, vocals are terrific. I love the because there aren't a whole lot of moments where they do the black metal stuff. Like a lot of the middle of this album are
It's the death metal tracks.
yeah, but it's like dark death metal, even though you have moments of like D beats, like the D beat kind of like crust punk riffs or whatever.
Yeah,
I really like the like the second wave sound that they have, kind of like Mayhem, like we were saying, and like Emperor and things, because it seems like we don't really get that much with newer Raw Black stuff, which I'm not shitting on. I still like that stuff, but it kind of lacks that like quote unquote triumphant or melodic sound. It's sort of it's triumphant, and it's in a different way. It's like the guitar playing is like creepy, and the atmosphere is kind of just amped up with the keyboard stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Where you imagine like a distant blue castle on whatever album you can think of. There's always a blue castle in the distance. It gives you that sort of feel.
yeah. This is like showing you what's in the moats outside the castle.
Yeah,
Those blue
exactly.
guts.
It's showing you around, maybe.
Yeah.
A visual.
Mhm.
Well, you, Freddie, what do you think of that track? Plus the
I mean,
intro, too.
I like every track on this album, but I love the middle bit where they really push the atmospheric effects to the max, and it reminds me a lot of Majesty of the Night Sky from Emperor. Whether there actually was a direct influence or not, I don't know, but it reminds me a lot of that. And yeah, just weirdly captivating. I think the whole thing feels very Emperor-esque, and they pulled it off. So that's a compliment. Like they managed to actually sound like something Nordic with this. this
Yeah.
track, anyways. And no, cool song. It's really that middle part, the atmospheric part, that sticks out to me. Even though it's like there's no real riffing in there, but it's just that part felt very telling as to what their main influences were when they decided to switch to black metal.
Yeah, and I think like like a unspoken like sort of genre that they're doing as well is they have a lot of like lurching death doom sort of riffs in here too, just spread out through all their tracks. It seems to be all like no matter when they're doing the more black metal focused ones or just the death metal ones, they have a lot of those like like Peaceville kind of riffs, and then obviously the gothic vocals being that influence there too, and yeah, I think just the keys when the riffs are taking a backseat, they just fill that space so much because that second riff is like you already climbed the mountain, and then it's like you're just up on a cloud with those keys afterward. Like you didn't think you can get any much higher, and you would just expect to be plateaued at the peak, but it was more elevating there. Yeah,
It almost feels like the dream album for these guys. Like they got everybody that they wanted. They got the sound that they wanted.
and they got Mortis for free apparently.
Yeah. They pissed them off. That maybe they didn't want that, but it happened.
Like he said, shitty German black metal band.
Shitty German black metal. Yeah, is this a shitty German black metal band? I mean, I feel like it's definitely something of its time, but I feel like it still stands on its own as something pretty cool. Not just a one-off weird gimmicky.
Yeah,
thing.
I think it lives beyond the gimmick, because I honestly didn't even know about it, but
Yeah, I think that says something. The fact that you didn't know that, and it's it was appealing to you.
yeah, because it was always this song that hooked me, and then the second song, we're not gonna play that one, but there's this really really emotional solo that leads into the rest of the sort of like doomy lurching melodic riffing that exits the song. And I didn't realize that Dan Swano did it, but I was like, damn, right, of course, that's why I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it's straight up sounds like a solo off Nightingale, maybe
Yeah.
the song Shadow Man, where they're talking about like sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah, fantastic second or third song. But the one you wanted to pick was showing the other side to the innards. Was what was it? Transfiguration of the Withered Beauty.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Sounds
Yeah.
right.
All right, we'll be right back. Alright, we're back and we fell like trees. Yeah, the lyrics
Wow.
are pretty goofy here, huh? I could see them in the vocal booth, like eyeing Dan Swana, like, oh, I hope he doesn't understand this. But yeah, what a dynamic change! It sounds like you threw on like a Dismember song for a second with all these open chords and skank beats.
I feel like this track really gave the album a kick.
You made me sick. Yeah, and then
It's funny, the track is very, very much death metal, very, very Swedish, but they still kind of put it through a black metal filter, especially with the vocals,
yeah, I think
and making it have the consistent production with the rest of the album, obviously, kind of blurs the line a bit for it.
yeah,
So it, although it's rooted very much in like shit that Dismember or Grave would do, it's put through a filter that makes it almost come off as black metal.
yeah,
Not quite.
That intro riff didn't really do it favors. It sounded something like tech thrash ish, and Dan
Yeah.
said it was kind of Blaze My Sorrow, which is some melodic death metal, and
Fred said it sounded awkward, and I would agree with that. Like a Blaze My Sorrow and Decameron and Miscreant, they are awkward sounding, but I feel like they make it work.
yeah,
It's just so different. But yeah, that's straight up sounds like one of the Blaze My Sorrow tracks, or at least like one of the riffs.
yeah, and then they have a lot of or they played like we were talking. I think the second or third riff it goes on, and it just it's like this obviously more black metal riff where there's like fewer notes going on, and it's a little bit play more legato versus playing a bunch of like just fast shit in a
It's a weird one.
death metal sense, but it's like the production on top of it and the distortion, the tuning, the whole tone of the guitar just screams death metal, but you're hearing a black metal riff like filtered through it, like Fred said, and it's just like such a weird trick that's playing in your ears.
Yeah, the harmonies on that second riff, it's like it's sort of doing the same thing as the first riff, just lower. On
Yeah,
the
with
neck.
the open chords, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And even that the part where you're talking about sounded like Dismember, where they're doing the chords. They're still doing like tremoloed chords behind that. There's
Yeah.
tremoloed chords and there's an open chord, and I think that's a really good effect to kind of let things breathe, but also keep it moving.
Yeah,
at
like
the same
keep
time. Keep it
the-
death metal and keep it black metal at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
brought back
something simple as
the
that.
atmospheric part from like the first song, but I'm glad that they didn't add the vocals there to like be like, oh yeah, this is the band that does this every so often. I think it's only twice on here versus 3, which I think would have made a big impact on it.
Paul, can you do your gothic clean vocals?
Let's see if I'll say a line here. I'll do my Severus Snape.
So when the time comes,
You really make me sick.
the boy must die.
I give you the kick in northern snow.
Yes,
My hate
you
will
must
grow.
die.
You will never get my pardon. See you in my scream's garden. Infected in love, I fall like a tree. Hateful the eye, cold this God I see.
You've kept him alive so that he can die at the proper moment.
I give you the kick in northern snow.
You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter.
Don't tell me now that you've grown to care for the boy.
You will never get my pardon. See you in this scream's garden.
Accept the
never get my pardon. See you in this Grimm's garden.
Really? After all this time?
Hateful die, coldest god I see.
Always.
They're really just the worst fucking lyrics.
Yeah. Hopefully that's
I'm
a
pretty
second
sure those were
language.
written by the band and not by Mortis or Oystein.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope these are, ESL lyrics.
I hope they were pressed for time and just pulled something out of their high school notebook.
But yeah, these riffs are more mature than, or I don't know if these lyrics are. I think they're just a little bit. I don't know. Like vulnerable's not the word, but I guess just not good.
Yeah,
It's alright.
there's what we're looking for. Not good.
If you don't read them, then I mean, who cares? And even if you do read them, for me that's part of the fun. The dumb is part of the fun,
Yeah.
as the dog always says.
And these guys were dressed in the goddamn parts.
Wow.
This guy's wearing a button up though.
Prove it.
But yeah,
Just kidding.
this
No,
is
but,
a
like-
different side of this album. And then towards the end, they hint more towards the death doom that I was bringing up beforehand, where it's just like literally the last riff is like this really melodic, like just melodic and heavy death doom riff that just good, like just ends the song with it, and I think it was a good way to end it, because it wasn't really a callback to anything beforehand, and it just kept the song moving.
Sort of like Dismember's Soon to Be Dead. There's that weird kind of big bass riff at the end that just down
Yeah.
takes you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
What were you gonna say, Fred?
No, I was just saying, yeah, no, I could see what Dan said. It makes sense. But
Yeah.
it's funny because like as this track was playing, like I keep expecting it to go into the more Emperor sounding version of the band, and it just doesn't happen. And it's probably just the precedent set by the earlier tracks, but like the atmospheric black metal is gonna kick in any second now, and it doesn't, and that's fine because it's still a great song, but like you're kind of just waiting for something that never actually happens. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Like
Or
I said,
death metal.
this album's just like a sandwich. You got black metal bread and the death metal meat. It's all packed in the middle, and then
Meat sandwich.
yeah, then black metal brings you in, and black metal
Get him a
takes you
cup
out.
of meat.
But yeah, and then after this song, they go into the one from the demo before, which is also death metal, and then just straight up Swedish
Nightingale.
death metal cover of Nirvana 2002, and then from there it kind of takes you out on what you were introduced to the band as, which was the black metal tracks. And
Yeah.
did you want to go out on this ninth track?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll listen to that as well as Mortis's outro. Sorry, bud. All right, we'll be right back.
Woo.
Guess I have to listen to Purgatory Blessed with Flames of Hate from 2000. I've never heard it.
Dodds Metal. Pick. But yeah, what another difference, because even from that first track, this one is completely different too. It's just more mid-pace, stompy, hypnotic, trance-inducing black metal. It does get faster, but it's playing the same riffs.
It's playing
Yeah.
it's playing stuff that's extremely similar. They're different riffs, but they trick you into thinking that it's the same riff over again, just maybe a little bit higher. They are doing something slightly different.
And the thing that was apparent right from the get-go is the keys coming in here. It seems like they were absent on that last song. I don't really remember if they were there during the death metal tracks. Probably not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't. I
That
think
was
they're
like
only
their
on like.
Mellow Death track.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think they were on there either.
Sort of weird. You know, I didn't really think of it before, but this isn't just a Swedish worship kind of thing, because that last track really lacks any of that, besides like the Bathory influence. But then again, you know, that kind of influenced the entire like Polish scene, because when that last track was playing, I was thinking like Graveland or like maybe Moonblood or definitely Falkenback, and like Gothenjaki or something like that. Um, yeah, that's definitely their pagan metal song, and it's a great fucking ending to the album.
yeah, we're almost saying that it didn't need the Mortis outro, but I think it's warranted because that was just a good outro.
Yeah, it's definitely warranted. I found myself waving my hand around with a cigarette in my other hand.
The
My
maestro.
other hand was like a conductor, like a maestro. The maestro, call him the maestro.
Especially in Morris's
I'm a
golden
fancy
years.
boy.
Like, this is really like peak. Like, you can tell from a mile away who wrote that. It's not wrote and performed. Like, it's so easy to tell it was him.
Oh, Mortis.
What is?
They did him dirty.
Apparently.
I hope
Yeah, apparently.
I hope the beef is squashed. Maybe that's holding up a reissue.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, no, it could be a rights issue. That's a good point. But yeah, I like just how they kept how grandiose this song feels throughout the whole thing. It was it's got like a haunting sound to it.
It was
And
interesting.
it is in large part to the keyboards, but I mean, like, they pulled it off well. It works.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's interesting because it's building up. It was just going, doing like a A-B structure, and then they would eventually get into one interstitial riff that led into the blast section, and it seemed like that blast session wasn't really the climax of the track. It was like still building that momentum and tension there, and the release was more with the bringing back that stompy bit, like right at the end.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like slowing it down even more.
Yeah, with the breakdown halftime on the China, and
Yeah, that just works great as a pagan metal track. So it makes sense that these guys would, you know, we were talking about like why are these guys wearing corpse paint? I mean, with a track like this, it sort of makes sense. You know, half the album is like dark death metal. You got a little bit of the Norwegian stuff, and then with this, you have just a straight up like good pagan metal song. Like if there was a hit, I feel like this might be it, especially with a black metal crowd, I guess.
yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, it seemed like the black metal elitists didn't get to this track when they dissed this band.
Right at the end.
Yeah, because this is.
Yeah.
I think that stands, alongside that as well. And I could see the first track being like, oh, what is this? But, this one was just kind of no bullshit black metal. Bill Skinner stomp and all. All right, bye.
Sorry, I was taking a drink. And now I thought someone else was going to start
I was
talking.
like, still drinking. All right, well, should we get into our final thoughts then?
Yeah, we can do that.
I think so. I think it's about time for that.
Frego.
Yeah, every time. Every time.
It rolls
You're
off the
always
tongue.
first, it seems.
Yeah.
First Fred.
Fred's first.
Freddy the First.
Fred Word the first.
Ugh.
Get to that.
All
piss
right.
you off.
Yeah, it's weird. I picked up this album not being sure that I wanted it back when I did get it. Again, the artwork's just weird and but ultimately being the black metal nerd I was at that point, the dudes in corpse paint on the back, I'm like, all right, if they're all on corpse paint, it must be black metal. And I think I listened to like the first track on the at the record store just to make sure I enjoyed it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's pretty good. So then I just bought it. And then I listened to the whole thing and I'm like, this is not what I thought I had bought, but still being a big fan of the sweeter style of death metal, it still worked. And even though the songs, when they're like fairly different from a songwriting perspective, lurching from the black metal approach to the death approach, the consistent and very, very good production from Dan Swano makes it still feel like a whole. It makes it feel like a solid album. And the sandwiching of those tracks kind of gives it a type of structure. Almost like there's like,
Salami.
I don't know, like it's the dawn and then or nightfall, whatever, and then like the ugly battles and then back to like your beautiful sunrise or something. It's weird. Like it gives it that much structure, as opposed to just having the tracks all willy nilly and just kind of doing their thing. This gives the album a feel of, especially with the intros and outros by Mortis too. It feels like it has that symmetry to it, making the whole seemingly random approach to the songs feel much more intentional and structured. So, yeah, good album. I think whoever listens to it should probably have an open mind and not expect just straight up anything. But anyone who likes extreme metal, black and death specifically, obviously, there's no reason not to like this album. And I really like this album now. It's it took time to sink in for me, but last 5 years it's actually gotten quite a bit of spins. So
Yeah, Fred was
Yeah.
more excited than me when I brought it on.
yeah, no, it's a great pick. I like it's I can't say that Paul had the ability to introduce me to it, but it is one that I was excited to talk about. So that's
Paul picked it. Fred gave Paul like a big muscular handshake.
Yeah, not too long, but there was a connection. Dango.
I traveled to
yeah,
Canada
Dango.
for a... Okay, yeah, traveled to Canada for a handshake. Thanks for picking this.
Worth it.
The track that we didn't play that I really liked, Hateful. I feel like that had some interesting stuff going on with it. The
That's too damn
intro
bad.
riff. No, I know, but
Should have thought of that earlier.
There was a lot of cool stuff to cover there. Well, stuff that was sort of covered on the song that we already did, but I guess I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, but the Hateful track, the intro riff reminded me of the first Rune Magic album, and possibly even something that Appalling Spawn would do. feel like a lot of those riffs and some of the riffs on the other songs too, even the one that we did play, they are like a little bit more controlled war metal riffs. Like I would hear them from local bands like Nigromancia or like Encirclement or something, stuff that bands that I was playing with in the circuit, like 2017, things like that. Um, or even something as simple as like Necrophobic, who I always bring up for whatever reason. Maybe just because they're a great band. Um, but yeah, I feel like Hateful is a perfect Black Death song in the style of like First Hammer as well. Um, but yeah, I guess as like in totality, final thought, I would say at I didn't really remember what this sounded like. I know I had heard it, years ago, and it's just a band that I know. But that what happens a lot of times. I just don't come back to things as often as I should, and I completely forget how things sound. And at the first two listens of this album, I was thinking like, this is just Swedish death metal worship, and maybe it's not that special. But as I even up to this moment, I starting to realize there's a ton of stuff going on here. Not just Swedish death metal. I mean, the band name, like Fred said, the Carcass title, the weird kind of ties to the death metal scene, but just the fact that they bring all their influences and like all their enthusiasm to sort of making this weird eclectic album that sort of covers a lot. It covers doom, it covers the Norwegian scene a little bit, the melodic Swedish death metal scene, Black Death, a lot of gothic stuff, especially with the Dan Swan vocals on those like straight up like death rock parts, and then straight onto the ending with that pagan metal song, which actually is really good. Um, it's not too late and it's not too early in the year that this comes out for this to be just really creative and really stand out. I think I'll probably be coming back to these tracks a lot more often, honestly. Yeah, it's a cool weird group project kind of thing. Like I said, I mean, it at one point it isn't, at one point it is, just because it's kind of a one-off thing. Yeah, I think I think it's terrific. So yeah, there's my thoughts. And I suppose Paul can go when he darn well pleases.
All right.
Paul is dead. Oh, there he is.
Fermenting over here.
Paul's fermenting. His innards have fermented.
Fermenting
innards.
Hey, retard.
But yeah, I guess I came from the polar opposite way of discovering this album. Even the YouTube video that we're on, it says Fermenting Innards featuring Dan Swano and Mortis. It's like more in the camp of like being a group project rather than a band standing on its own. And I found it, I think, just searching just like black metal releases and not even finding out until like literally this round of listening, since Fred mentioned that Mortis did the intros and Dan Swano was a part of it as well. I just thought it was a really interesting black metal release, especially coming from Germany. There's gonna have a lot more experimentation. Being on the same label as like Fertilizer, not a death metal or not a black metal band, but just equally unique, like one-off sort of band. And I think its ties with death metal and Golem is also sort of eye-opening as well, because I didn't realize it was the same Golem that I've heard their second album. I was only thinking of it from their first, which I haven't heard until this week, and I think the dynamics, not within the songs, but as the album as a whole, is like pretty daring move too, to have this like black death metal sandwich sort of thing, to have the black metal tracks up front and at the end, and then just mush it up with some Swedish death metal slop, and to add the gothic parts in here, and the clean guitars, as well as having like death doom sections, is something you don't hear when you think of like a black metal album, unless you're thinking of like Bare Thumb or something. But I think these guys pulled off, living out of the shadow of like Dan Swano and Mortis with, that first track, and of course these last two. They're just songs that I'll just be playing, in my head just over and over, because that riff can go on, and like I said, it can run the whole track time of this album, and I would still be happy with it. That second riff and in that second song. But yeah, I'm glad we all like this one, and that you guys are liking it more now that we're had to listen to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I really wish we could have seen where they went with a third album or a second album.
Yeah, I think what Dan said with Golem, that second album, is you can kind of see not necessarily where these guys went, but at least where I think his name's Andreas or something, and
Yeah,
Andreas,
the other guitar player.
yeah, where his where Fermenting Innards impacted him.
It's kind of weird. It's like that. This is where he's introduced to Swedish death metal. It seems like
Yeah.
it's an interesting. That's an interesting point.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on this album.
Well, take us out then.
Sorry, Mortis.
Sorry, Rabbi.
Pohjan tähden ja kuutamon. Pohjolan kauneus on sielsain. Pohjolan valkeus on ihosain. Oh,